So I just got off of a discovery call with a PT who's got 2 to 3 years of experience and is shockingly fed up, frustrated, confused with what he is doing, feels like he's on the road to burnout, and wondering what he needs to do to figure out a better way. So I told him there are 4 things that you need to have in order to reinvent your career, get out of the mess, and be where you want to be. So number 1 is drive. So drive is the ability to understand that there's something else that you want and you're going to have to do something to get there. So drive is the motivation that gets you moving. So he's got drive. He's already reached out to me. He's done a discovery call. He's been following me. He's been absorbing the content. So he's got the drive to start the process. Number 1, he's got it. Number 2 is the ability to think critically. Now, here's the problem. The education model is not going to teach you critical thinking. So I know they're now saying that they teach critical thinking in PT school. Trust me, they don't, because if they did, they wouldn't be teaching you all the other stuff that they're teaching you. They'd be focusing on the important things. So critical thinking is the ability to take apart your thinking, break it down, hold it up to a higher standard, and figure out where you are deficient in your thought processes and your thinking, and then start to fill in those holes. So this guy has started the process, so he's broken it down. He's figured out that he has deficiencies, he has holes in his skill set, he doesn't understand exactly what it is he is doing and why he is doing it, so he doesn't understand his purpose. And he also doesn't understand how to fill those things in. So he needs to figure out the components of critical thinking that will help him get to where he's going. So he needs help with number 2. Number 3, what you need to have is commitment. So drive gets you going, commitment keeps you going. So commitment is what people lack when they start down the road to something and 2 to 3 weeks later, they fall off and they're not doing it anymore, okay? Their discomfort wasn't bad enough to keep them going, or they weren't getting what they needed, so it wasn't filling those holes. They noticed that and then they fall off, okay? If you have commitment, you are telling yourself and the person that you are working with that you are in it for the long haul. If it takes a year to figure this out, you are going to dedicate a year and commit to a year to figure this out, to fix your problem. Okay, so drive gets you going, commitment keeps you going till you get to the end and you get the result that you finally wanted. Now, number 4 is a guide. So especially if you are in a profession like physical therapy or athletic training or chiropractic, you are told to think a certain way and do certain things that physical therapists do. So I've had students tell me this all the time. I ask them, why are you doing that? Why did they teach you how to do that in school? And they said, well, because that's what physical therapists do. That's what patients expect to get at physical therapy. We shouldn't be doing that, okay? What we should be doing is what is best for that patient and keep going. So the problem is, if you're trying to find a guide who is stuck also in the broken medical model, the only thing that guide can teach you how to do is go where they are at. So if you are going to work with somebody and get out of the situation that you're in, that person, that guide can't be stuck in the same situation. You have to find somebody who is at where you want to be. So find somebody who does what you want to do, gets the results that you want to get, probably makes the money that you want to make, lives the lifestyle that you want to lead, and hook up with that person to be your guide. The problem is, if you're a physical therapist, that's gonna be really hard to do, because remember, everybody was taught to do what physical therapists do because that's what's expected. So you're going to have to find a guide who does the opposite of what's expected, who's reinvented what they do, even though it flies in the face of conventional physical therapy and what everybody else does. That's what they do because that's what's best for their patients. So you're going to have to find a guide that does that. So once again, the 4 things that you have to have: drive. If you're watching this, we're 4 minutes into this video, you must have drive. If you've been following me, you have drive. You have to have critical thinking skills, which you didn't learn in school. You actually learned the opposite. You learned how to do what you're supposed to do. So you need to find somebody who can teach you how to implement critical thinking skills in the clinic. And then number 3, you're going to have commitment. You're going to have to spend the time and commit to getting through it, whether that's 1 year, 5 years, 10 years. The good news is the guide that I know that knows how to teach critical thinking, that has helped people get out of the broken medical model, can do that in just 4 months. So if you can commit to 4 months, then you can get out of the broken medical model. And the 4th thing, the guide, I think I mentioned, I might know somebody who knows how to be your guide to get you out. So if you have those 4 components, you can reinvent your skill set. You can get the results that you want. You can ditch the confusion. You can get away from the frustration, and you can be the clinician that you've always wanted to be, giving your patients the results they deserve and giving our profession the reputation that it should have, because we do what's best for our patients, not what's expected.